So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. Here back here, BSN Network. This is the BSN Network podcast here today. It is Tuesday, March 15th. Hope everybody's having a day so far and a good rest of their day yesterday. Coming off another big day. Yesterday in the world of sports had a lot of news, tons of stories. We had the big Yankees trade go down on Sunday night into Monday morning. As we all know, Yankees and Twins make a big trade. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and Josh Donaldson are going to the New York Yankees, along with another catcher. And the Yankees are shipping Gio Urshela and Gary Sanchez to the Minnesota Twins. So a big move, definitely something that was surprising. I don't think many fans saw coming. So a wild move. And then yesterday you had all the free agency and all the hype around, the NFL free agency and some big moves already. Still some big pieces out there. Allen Robinson still available. Marcus Williams still available. Stephon Gilmore still available. A lot of guys still available. Via trade. Maybe we get some more trades, blockbusters. Are there going to be any crazy moves? Day one of free agency is done. Day two is just beginning. Jets yesterday were phenomenal. I mean, made three very good moves. Made a couple other small moves as well, but three big moves that you got to feel good about, you got to get excited about, and you can only hope that they continue to add on. And maybe today we go out and sign a Marcus Williams. Maybe today we go out and sign a Stephon Gilmore, a Tyron Matthews, or somebody of that caliber of a player that can really take this secondary from where we're at now, which is young and developing, and turn them into really a higher end secondary that could really, force pressure on quarterbacks, make quarterbacks to make bad throws, interceptions, really force quarterbacks into mistakes. And you got to hope that the Jets can get one of those playmakers today. So really a great day yesterday from free agency. Very happy today as a Jet fan. Usually free agency tends to be a very good day for Jets fans, tends to be a very happy day for Jets fans. As everybody always says, it's like our Super Bowl. It's when we get everybody and we feel good about who we got. So, if you're a Jet fan today, you got to feel good about day one. Really good day one. You get Laken Tomlinson, really good guard out of San Francisco. You get C.J. Uzomah from Cincinnati, tight end, who I've been looking at for a long time now. And then you get Braxton Berrios as well. You re-sign him on a very team-friendly deal that a lot of people said maybe could have been getting $8-9 million a year. He's only going to get 2 year, $12 million. That's $6 million a year. So really great deal for the Jets there. So a lot to get to today. As for the New York sports update, got a lot to get to. As we all know, I know I did a pre-recorded pod on Sunday, so did not do a pod yesterday. I did upload the pre-recorded pod, so it was kind of weird because I talked about the Yankees roster situation. At that time on Sunday night, they didn't do anything. So I uploaded that pod yesterday. It was not about the trade. So today I'm going to get to the trade. March Madness starts today. You got the first 4 games, 2 today, then 2 tomorrow. Today it's going to be Texas Southern and Texas A&M. Let's see here. Texas A&M. No clue what the other thing. CC. No clue what that stands for. Small name teams. And then tonight, you got Indy as well. The next later game is Indiana and Wyoming. You also got some basketball on tonight. Nets are in action tonight. Knicks were in action on Sunday, obviously against the Nets. They had yesterday off. They'll have today off. They'll be back in action tomorrow. Rangers return home tonight at the Garden to face the Ducks back home after their road trip, and the Islanders are on the road in D.C. against the Capitals. So Rangers, Islanders, and Nets all in action tonight in the world of New York sports, and you assume that the New York Jets, New York Giants also made some moves as well. I'm going to talk about the Jets and Yankees today. Maybe I'll get more to the Giants. I think a lot of people and Giant fans know, too, they're going to build more through the draft. I think that's really where they're going to make their money. That's really where they're going to, really build up their roster is through the draft. They don't have as much cap space. They're kind of in a weird situation with where their roster's at, and then they're going to build through the draft and do a lot more through the draft. They have a lot of capital than they are in free agency, and more so, going out and maybe signing those big-time guys like the Jets did yesterday. Spending money, getting guys in here, building around Wilson. So let's get to the topics for today's podcast. 2 topics, and in the New York sports update, we're going to start off with the Jets free agency. So I'm going to give you a Jets free agency update. I'm doing one today. Very well could do one again tomorrow. A lot of names still out there, a lot of players still available. Allen Robinson, just some of the big ones. Even just go down the line, you guys go to guys not even that the Jets are more looking for, but you go down the line like guys like Von Miller and Landry, and there's still some big ticket guys out there that are still available, and still some big ticket guys that teams will definitely look into. And I would assume that come today, there will not be come today. There will be a lot of guys that are really, that are off the board. So some big names went off the board yesterday, but still some big names to go off the board today, and still some big names available. So, like I said, Jets got Uzama, Lincoln Tomlinson, and they brought back Braxton Berrios. So we're going to get into those moves, talk about it, and why, yet again, for the New York Jets, this is showing us all of us Jets fans, that Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh, their plan is absolutely to build around Zach Wilson. Nothing else. It's to build around Zach Wilson, give him the weapons he needs, make sure that you surround him with weapons so he could play his best. That's the ultimate goal. So then we're going to get to the Yankees and Twins trade. Like I said, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa to the New York Yankees, Josh Donaldson to the New York Yankees for Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela. Also, another catcher as well going to the Yankees. So Yankees, Twins make a trade. Very odd trade. I'm going to tell you why I like it for some of it, and I also find some of it kind of weird. Shocking trade, to say the least. We'll get to that, and then we'll get to the New York Sports Update. Also with the Yankees-Twin trade, why I'm going to tell you why that trade shows us that there's still something else the Yankees have to do. Because there's no way that this is the only move they make. There's still other holes and something else. This trade definitely could lead to something else. So, and then we're going to get to the New York Sports Update. Like I said, Nets, Rangers, Isles, all tonight. Nets on the road in Orlando, Isles on the road in D.C. against the Capitals. Rangers, the only home team tonight, back at the Garden against the Ducks. Knicks will be back home tomorrow as well at the Garden for the first time in 7 games. I believe was their 7-game road trip for the first time back tomorrow night. So that will be good. We'll see how everything plays out. And, with all that being said, this is the BSN podcast, and let's get right into it. Alrighty, so NFL free agency started on yesterday. The legal tampering period took place, where teams can officially negotiate, teams can officially, make deals and do all that stuff, and then, players sign, but, come Wednesday, tomorrow, that's when guys officially put the pen to the paper, officially say, hey, boom, officially putting pen to the paper, I'm on this team, bang, bang, let's get to work. So, a lot of great moves yesterday from the New York Jets, and obviously teams making splashy moves all over the place. Jaguars spent a lot of money. When you look at the amount of money they spent and then you look at the talent they spent it on, it's way too much money for talent that's really not worth a penny of that money, but it is what it is. Jaguars went out and made a lot of big moves. Chargers brought in J.C. Jackson to bolster their secondary. He got a big payday. Just a couple other moves. Ingram's going to the Jaguars. So Giants, that long run there with the Giants is now officially over. And then, of course, we had the Giants making some small moves here and there. But the New York Jets were the main New York football team, including the Buffalo Bills, that really made the big moves yesterday. And that's kind of what we expected. And yesterday and today, as a New York Jet fan, you got to feel great with what the Jets did yesterday. And you could still say, oh, well, there's still so many holes on this roster, and what about the secondary? We still don't know about the quarterback. You could say all those things. But yesterday and going into today, yet again, day 2 of free agency, you got to feel good, and you got to feel very confident that they will make more moves. But you also got to feel really, really good with the moves the Jets have already made. Because once again, as I've said this entire offseason, I will continue to say it, and now I feel like I don't have to say it much more because, I will continue to say it, but I feel like now it's true that Douglas and this team, when he made that draft call to Zach Wilson, he said, you don't have to lift this team. We're going to lift you. This team's going to lift you. And that means building around Wilson, putting him in the best situation, the best possible situation to succeed in a big market, big name team, a team that hasn't been successful the past decade. And the Jets really did a great job yesterday signing guys that are going to help Wilson get elevated from year 1 to year 2, so on and so forth. Because what we did with Sam Darnold was we did not build around him. We did not give weapons. We gave him a terrible coach. We gave him a terrible offense. We gave him zero to none. We gave him a little to none weapons. What the Jets did yesterday was exactly what us Jet fans wanted and exactly what us Jets fans and the Jets needed to do. And that was build around Wilson. And they did a great job of doing that yesterday. And day one, they looked all offense. There was no defense. They lost Fatukasi defense in the offseason. They re-signed Tevin Coleman. Or yesterday they lost him. They re-signed Tevin Coleman. They re-signed Braxton Berrios. They brought in C.J. Uzama. And they also brought in Laken Tomlinson, the left guard from the San Francisco 49ers. And also they feel very confident he'll be able to play right guard. So now you look at that offensive line with the Jets. And it's like, and I'm going to go step by step here. So we're going to start off with guard Laken Tomlinson. Now you look at that offense line with the Jets, and, for a Jets team that hasn't had a good offense line in many years, you start to look at offense line, it's like, finally some consistency, finally some true talent up front. There's a possibility you could have 2 Pro Bowl, All-Pro guards on your left side, AVT, Elijah Vera Tucker, and on your right side, Laken Tomlinson, the new addition that we brought in yesterday. That was our first signing of the day. So there's a chance now. Not only do you have Font coming off a career year, and you hope that everything with the weight checks out with Becton, okay, because we know the type of player he can be when he's healthy, and if his weight stays in check. Potentially, outside of that, you also have 2 Pro Bowl right guards. You don't know how big that is. It starts up front. It starts in the trenches. It starts when you get guys that can protect your quarterback, protect the run game, and that's where your offense runs to. If you have a good offense line, look at the Cincinnati Bengals. I always use the Bengals as the big story. They got to Super Bowl. If they had an offense line, that's probably a different game. It really is. That game's not on Joe Burrow. That game's not on the offense. That game's not on the receiver. That game was on the offense line because they completely blew it. They couldn't block. Burrow got sacked, 7 times? He got sacked 9 times in the divisional round game. So that just shows you need an offense line. I don't care how good you are as a quarterback, you need an offensive line. Running backs need an offensive line. We saw what Michael Carter could do last season. He really seems like one of those guys that could be an electric player for us. Now you add in Laken Tomlinson, and you put him up against with Tucker on the left side, Tomlinson on the right, and then you go hope everything. Let's just assume everything with Becton checks out. You have a chance to have 3 Pro Bowl offensive linemen on a line, and you have George Font, who's coming off a career year. So you have a chance of having 3. For sure you definitely could have 2 guards that are Pro Bowls. If everything checks out okay with Becton, he was very close to being a Pro Bowl his rookie year. If everything checks out with his weight okay, he could be a Pro Bowler. So that's 3 Pro Bowlers. McGovern center, Font right. Font, by the way, coming off a career year, so you hope he can only build on that. I don't know if I would say Pro Bowl level, but a very solid offensive lineman. McGovern, definitely the only question mark. Maybe we still make a move to go out and sign another guy. So the Jets offensive line now, just by making that one move, and I could still see another move being made. Could maybe they make a safety blanket move just in case if Becton doesn't check out okay and he gets hurt, and you could have a solid backup there at left tackle. But from the sounds of it and what it looks like, the Jets and Douglas continue to stick to their word. Build around Wilson, build up front, give him protection, give him time. Because look, ultimately this is the reality. If you build around Wilson, you give him time, and you give him weapons, it's up to Wilson then. Wilson's got to make those throws. Wilson's got to make those decisions. He's got to make plays. Because there would be no excuses since we're building around him. Love the move there for getting Laken Tomlinson back, or signing him. 3-year deal. It was a 3-year deal. 42. So 3-year deal worth $41.2 million, including $27 million guaranteed for Lincoln Tomlinson. So love the move. It was a guy, when I saw Sheriff go off the board, I was like, okay, I was talking to somebody, and when I saw Sheriff go off the board, I'm like, Tomlinson's got to be on here. And I said, Tomlinson's, got to be one of the guys the Jets are looking at, him or Daniels. And when I saw Tomlinson pop up, I was just relieved, because it's like, boom, another offensive lineman. You can never have enough bodies up front. Love the move. Pro Bowler last season. Another thing, too, that's been an issue with the Jets' offensive line the past couple seasons is their consistency to stay healthy. And Tomlinson, I believe, has only missed one game. And it was either like 5 or 7 years he's only missed one game. Was the Pro Bowler last season, big part of that Niners run game. He fits the system that LaFleur is calling. He knows the system. LaFleur was with him. He's coming into a situation that he feels comfortable with. Love the move to bring in Lincoln Tomlinson out of San Francisco. Once again, that was a 3-year, $41.2 million deal. That is $27 million guaranteed. So look, Douglas went out and gave him money. He gave him his money. Definitely, they believe he's going to be a true force up front. Next move was wide receiver Braxton Berrios, who we brought back. I'm going in order by the moves. Tomlinson was first. Berrios came about 20 minutes after. And then Uzomah came about a couple hours later. But the Berrios move I love too. Look, I said this with Berrios. I personally did not think the Jets were going to bring Braxton Berrios back. That was just my personal opinion. I'm obviously wrong about that, and that was obviously not the right prediction. But to be fair, I wanted Berrios to be back for the right price. And that was my biggest thing. I didn't want the Jets to go out and sign Berrios to a 4-year, $84 million deal like the Jacksonville Jaguars did with Christian Kirk, which I think is completely overpaid. But what the Jets did yesterday with Berrios, I think was great. And I know some people say that, he missed out on money and stuff and all that. But look, for the Jets, they got a very team-friendly deal. They got a very low-risk, high-reward type deal. It wasn't a high-risk, high-reward deal. It's a low-risk, high-reward deal. And that's something that Douglas, and I got to give credit. I criticize him a lot. I have criticized Douglas a lot. I've criticized a lot of pieces of the Jets, and rightfully so. There's reason to criticize different areas. But when it comes to this, contracts, I've always said, Douglas, unlike McCagnon, hands out team-friendly contracts. I've always said that. And I will always stand by that. He hands out contracts that give you about 2 years. Gives the player 2 years to prove himself. And if the players don't prove himself, they either put an opt-out in there or the guaranteed money's in the first 2 years of the deal, and then after that, it doesn't turn into much dead cap or where, the players, where you give them this massive deal and where you give them all this guaranteed money, and then you're still giving him money even when he's gone. It doesn't translate into dead cap space. That's why the Jets' dead cap's so low, because Douglas likes to load up his deals on the front end and keep the back end where there's an exit, there's a way out. It's not like the Le'Veon Bell deal that we gave, where we gave him a ton of money and it still feels, or a Bobby Bonilla deal where we're still paying guys 30 years down the road. Douglas always gives deals that are good where they're team friendly. And if a year or two goes by and it's not working out, if it's a 4-year deal and the first 2 years we're into it's not working out, there's a way out of it. Corey Davis, same contract. This is a big year for Corey Davis. Corey Davis struggled last season, got hurt. If he comes out this year and struggles again, the Jets can easily get a way out of it. They can release him and it won't hurt their cap space much because they were able to kind of load that up a little bit more on the front end, not have to worry about the back end, guarantee it as much money. That's something that Douglas has always done very well, and you got to give him credit. And he did the same thing here with Berrios. It's a 2-year deal. $12 million deal that includes $7 million fully guaranteed. So fully guaranteed, $7 million fully guaranteed, that's about $6 million a year. So look, if it doesn't work out in the first 2 years, let's say you give him $7 million fully guaranteed, he walks away, that's not bad. A lot of people said that Berrios was going to ask for $8-9 million, and some people said that they would give Berrios $8-9 million to stay with the Jets. And that was been one of the big topics. To get him for 2 years, $6 million a year, $7 million fully guaranteed, it's remarkable by Douglas. It really is, because it's something that easily could have been a 3-year, $24 million deal where you're giving him $8 million deal and you're giving him $12 million guaranteed. It could have been one of those deals and you could have been like, that's way too much. Plus, if you sign another receiver. But the fact that it's a 2-year deal, it's a very team-friendly deal, and it's a low risk. Look, if it doesn't work out, If it doesn't work out, then look, if it doesn't work out, then, it's not like you gave a guy a ton of money. If it doesn't work out, boom, in 2 years, he's out of here. But if it works out and you get the guy you got last season, the guy that can return kicks, guy that can return punt, he's a locker room guy. If you get that player for this low of a cost, that is huge and that is big. And I love it because I wanted Berrios back. I personally did not think we were going to get him back. I thought Berrios' asking price was going to be too high. But I truly do think that Berrios likes it here. I do think I think the Dolphins were the main team with the main team I was worried about with them possibly signing Berrios was the Dolphins, because he played in Miami. I believe he's there in the offseason. He was at Miami University, like I said. He's familiar to the stadium, knows the area. He knows the organization well. I thought if there was going to be a team where Berrios goes, I know some rumors were going to go. He was going to go up north to Buffalo and play with the Bills. I didn't believe that. I know some rumors spread around. I thought if anything, he was going to go to the Dolphins. But look, you get him on a team-friendly deal, 2-year, $12 million, $7 million guaranteed. And this was one of these deals, too. Like, the Jets, they let Florence Fatukasi go. He was, well-respected around the locker room. To bring back Berrios and to bring back a guy that's been here, for, a couple years now, has been that kind of culture guy. He's well-respected around the locker room. And you could see, and I know social media sometimes isn't everything, but even when the Jets tweeted out that they were bringing back Braxton Berrios, the amount of players that retweeted it, Wilson, JFM, MC2, all these guys were, replying and retweeting. You could just show that he is truly liked in the locker room. He's a veteran in the locker room. He's experienced. He knows what it takes to win. He was on a couple of those New England World Series teams. He was on a couple of those New England teams. He knows what it takes to win. He's a locker room guy, and he's a difference maker. I mean, to return kicks, to return punts, he was an all-pro last season. He knows what it takes. And a veteran, a locker room guy, well-respected, loved the move to bring back Berrios on a very team-friendly deal. Low risk, very high reward. The high reward is you get a guy that's already built chemistry with Wilson, you get a really good kick returner, a really good punt returner, and you get a guy that's a very good locker room guy and well-liked amongst his teammates. And that's something that's really great. And a guy who's coming off an all-pro season. I mean, he's an all-pro. To get an all-pro for 2 years, $12 million, $7 million guaranteed, I'd take that every day, right? It wasn't a Christian Kirk contract where you gave him 4-year, $84 million. That might have been every team's. That's still a wild contract, I can't believe. But love the deal to bring back Berrios. And the last major deal yesterday, I know they re-signed Tevin Coleman. I know they made some sprinkle moves prior to yesterday. But CJ Uzomah. And we signed CJ Uzomah yesterday to a 3-year, $24 million contract. The whole logistics, I don't think, is fully out yet. I can check right now. What I'm hearing, though, is it's a 3-year, $24 million contract. I can look again here just to make sure if there is any guaranteed. So, yeah, all I've heard is CJ Uzomah's 3-year, $24 million. I have not heard the whole logistics, incentives, or guarantees in the deal. All I've heard is it's going to be a 3-year, $24 million deal for CJ Uzomah, and the Jets finally. This was by far, I think, the move that I probably got most pumped up for, because I've said it all the time. You can go back to my podcast. I've said it so much. Anytime I'm talking to the Jets, you gotta get a tight end. I wanted Dalton Schultz. That was out. So my options were then O.J. Howard, CJ Uzomah, Tyler Conklin. To get Uzomah from the Cincinnati Bengals, I did say in my pod a couple weeks ago, and then this show shows you I'm wrong a lot of times. I did say I would love to have Uzomah on the Jets. I just did not think he was going to leave the Bengals. I just didn't think he was going to leave the Bengals. I thought he was going to stay with Burrow, stay with the Bengals, stay with what they got working there, the team that got to the Super Bowl. So I thought he was going to stay there. But the fact that we bring in a guy, and yet again, we talk about the locker room, and we talk about guys that can change the locker room and be culture changers. And Berrios is one of those guys. Laken Tomlinson knows what it takes. They got to the NFC Championship game this year. He was on that Niners team that got to the Super Bowl. He knows what it takes. Berrios knows what it takes, right? Same thing here with Uzomah. He knows what it takes for a locker room and for a team. Bengals were a 4-win team last year. A 4-win team. Or I apologize, not the year prior. They were a 4-win team. To go to the Super Bowl, second-year quarterback, to get to the Super Bowl, come out of the AFC champions. He knows what it takes for a locker room, for a team to do that. And when you bring in that experience, when you bring in that young talent that already has that experience, like he's young, but he also has that valuable experience of what it takes to get there. And when you're trying to build a culture, when you're trying to build a winning culture, when you're trying to bring guys in here that know how to win, love to win more than they, hate to lose more than they love to win, when you bring those guys that just love to win, love it, and they truly know what it takes, that's what can change a locker room. That's what can take a team from 4 wins to a contender, is bringing in guys like Uzomah, bringing in guys like that. Now, I'm not saying the Jets are going to win the Super Bowl or get to the Super Bowl. What I'm saying is, you talk about progress, and you talk about building. When you build the foundation, when you build the pieces, you need to have pieces in place that know what it takes. And Uzomah's one of those guys. And you get onto his on-field ability, too. I mean, the guy's amazing. We saw what he did in the postseason, and we saw, in the Super Bowl where he was hurt, it was a difference maker. It was a difference maker when he wasn't out there. When he's out there, he makes a huge impact. And we saw how much Burrow relied on him, in game, especially early, to set the tempo, get things going, get comfortable. And I've always said that for a young quarterback not to have a tight end, it's so frustrating. So for Zach Wilson to have a tight ends are huge. I've always said this. Like, every good team in the NFL has a good tight end. I could go down the list. Let's start in the AFC. I could go down the list and start in the AFC. Or you could go to the NFC. All these teams. Cowboys with Dalton Schultz. I mean, look at the Giants. They're not a good team. They don't have a tight end. Look at the other New York sports team. Look at the Bills. Very good team. They got a tight end in Dawson Knox that can seriously do some damage. Very underrated. Raiders with Darren Waller. George Kittle with the Niners. Chiefs with Travis Kelce. You notice something here? All those teams were playoff teams. Every team. Ravens, I know they missed the playoffs, but they got Mark Andrews, one of the best tight ends in the league. He got the big contract extension last offseason. Tight ends are huge, and especially early in games to get a rhythm, get going. And another thing, too, with Uzomah, something the Jets haven't had a tight end in a decade. He's tall, he's lengthy, he's strong, one-on-one, corner of the end zone. I can just picture it already. Like a 15-yard line, 3rd down and 5, and Uzomah runs a little bit of like an out route towards the corner of the end zone. Wilson just lobs it up, and he's just catching it up here. I mean, so strong, so lengthy. He's 6'6". I mean, the guy is massive, tall, strong. Everything you want in a tight end, CJ Uzomah brings to the table. And we saw it with Cincinnati, and you got to hope we see it again here with the New York Jets. 3-year deal once again. That's a 3-year deal, $24 million. Jets, finally. We wanted it last year, didn't get it. We've been wanting it for a long time. Finally, the Jets get a tight end that can win one-on-one, jump ball, athletic, tough to tackle. Everything you want in a tight end, Uzomah brings it. And two, he's young. He's got a lot of time left, and he's been in a locker room that knows what it takes to turn things around, from laughingstock of the league to a team that could truly do some damage. So really, really love the move to bring in Uzomah and continue. All these moves, something in common, they're all offense, and they're all meant to help Zach Wilson. So if the Jets were to play a game tomorrow, let's say they would have a 1 o'clock game today on CBS and MetLife against, let's say they're playing the Bills, all right? AFC East opponent. If the Jets would have a game today, 1 Eastern on CBS, if they had a game today, it would be Zach Wilson at quarterback. This would be your offense. It would be Wilson at quarterback. Running back would be Michael Carter. Number 1 receiver would be Corey Davis. Elijah Moore would be 2. Slot would probably put Berrios there. Although Moore and Berrios could both play. That'd be your 3 guys. Tight end would be Uzomah. And then we'll go offensive line. I guess your fullback, too, would be Nick Baldwin. I guess maybe we go outside at fullback. I don't know. I mean, we re-signed Nick Baldwin. I think we're probably going to just roll with him. And your offensive line from left to right, assuming everything checks out, Becton would be Becton at left tackle. Left guard would be Tucker. Center would be McGovern. And then the right side would be Lakin Tomlinson and George Font, rounding out the offense line at right tackle. So that would be your starting offense. And you already see the improvements. You got a tight end. It's not like Ryan Griffin's there. you got a tight end. Got a tight end. Jets have a tight end. Bang, 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 bang. Pumped up about that. Alright, so that's what I got. And today, I could see, I want Allen Robinson so badly. If the Jets get Allen Robinson, that would be like the ultimate icing on the cake, cherry on top. Like, boom, I love this offseason. And I think the Jets, too, continue to build throughout the draft, too. I could see us going Ruckert, McBride, somebody like that in the draft. Just to, constant cycle of tight ends is always great. To have guys rotating it, have a 2 tight end set that can rotate in and out, make plays. It's what you want. But the Jets today, I would love to have Allen Robinson. I think the Jets today, if anything, I could see today being more of a quiet day. Usually day 2 is the Jets' big day, which was funny. But I could see the Jets today. Marcus Williams would be a great addition, but the question is, are you willing to pay Marcus Williams $15 to $17 million a year? Are you willing to do that? If you are, then boom, go out for him. But if you're not, then he's not going to have to come here. Are you will? Now, Marcus Williams is he can be that game changer. He could take that secondary from where they're at now and make them high end, one of the top tiers, because that's how good he is and that's how much young talent he's got. He's only 25 or something. He's got so much talent. Stephon Gilmore is one of those corners that is very good, but he's 31, so he's up there in age. He might not, his future might not be as bright as, let's say, Marcus Williams. Maybe you get him on a 3-year deal. The only thing with Gilmore is I would not go out and sign him to this massive 4 or 5-year deal, because if you do, that takes him up to 35, 36. That's that's risky. You can get him on a 2-3-year deal, lead him up to 33, 34. That's probably just about his prime there. That'd be fine. I'd be fine with that. I know Justin Reed signed. He was an option too. Tyron Matthews out there too. I could see Matthew. I don't know. I have this weird suspicion that Matthew might come here, but it's all rumors at this point. So, look. Jets, who knows? Jets might be quiet today, and maybe they make some small signings. I would love to get one more big splash on defense. Whether that's safety, marks, whatever. I would love to get one big splash on defense. Linebacker, something, because the defense definitely still has some areas of fixing. You can get a safety there, like a Marcus Williams. I would love that. The question is, are you willing to pay him $15, $17 million? Personally, I am, because he's a game changer, and he takes our safety group right now that's a little thin and turns him into legitimately a very competent safety group. So, anyway, great day 1 for the New York Jets. Day 2 just beginning. We'll see if we get any moves here on this Tuesday. Alrighty, coming up next, New York sports going pretty wild. Yankees make a move yesterday. Go out and trade away Gio Urshela and Gary Sanchez, and get the 2 notable ones are Kiner-Falefa and Josh Donaldson, forget how to pronounce the catcher's name, Ben Rochford or something like that, from the Twins. I'm going to get into this deal and why I think the Yankees are not done based off of this deal. We'll get to that and much more coming up next. All right, so welcome you back here up at the podcast here today, Tuesday, March 15th, first day of March Madness. Not really all the March Madness like the first round, but today is just kind of the playing games. You win, you get into play, today decides, a couple 16 seeds and 11 seeds as well starting up tomorrow. So, some good ones on tonight. Like I said, Texas Southern, and this other team, I don't know their name, and then Indiana and Wyoming. So, Indiana and Wyoming's playing for a 12 seed, and then Texas Southern is playing for a 16 seed. And then tomorrow you have an 11 seed game, and I believe, another 16 seed game. So a couple hockey games on tonight as well, but in basketball as well, with the Nets traveling to Orlando to play the Magic. Fresh off of KD's 53 points on Sunday. Kyrie will be able to play tonight. He'll also be able to be in attendance. The COVID vaccine rules are just make no sense. But they'll be back in action tonight. Nets right now in the midst of a 3-game win streak. Anyway, yesterday the Yankees made a trade. Went out and got Josh Donaldson, Kiner-Falefa traded to the Yankees, and the Twins get Gio Urshela and Gary Sanchez. So a shocking trade, to say the least. Really a trade I don't think anybody saw coming. I think most people saw a trade. If they saw a trade coming, it was something for Matt Olson, or it was going to be, Gleyber Torres going someplace, and Gio Urshela, I think a lot of Yankee fans thought was going to be at third base for a while. But really shocking to see Gio Urshela leave. And look, like I said, I think that this is a very, very interesting trade. A trade that kind of is one of these deals that kind of screams at you like there's more coming, although there hasn't been more yet up to this point. Yesterday, the Yankees didn't make any moves. And now with Matt Olson going to the Braves, it's like Freddie Freeman is out there for the taking. Is it Dodgers? Is it Yankees? Is it going to turn into a bidding war? What's it going to turn into? But this trade is just so shocking because it happened so sudden. And it happened kind of just like, wow. Like, Gio Urshela's name popped up. All these guys popped up. This guy getting traded. This guy getting moved. Prospects getting moved. And yet it's Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela, the two guys getting moved, and the two guys that are, going from the New York Yankees, going to the Minnesota Twins to be Twins. And it's just very, very interesting, very odd, and just kind of weird how this trade took place. From a standpoint of they were in camp on Monday, or they were in camp on Monday. Sunday trade goes down. Boom, Monday they're at Twins camp. They're at their spring training facility. They're practicing and all that stuff. So first thing you look at this trade is there's two parts to this trade because Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, I talked about him a little bit. On Sunday when I did my rant, I brought up Kiner-Falefa because he was a guy the Yankees could have got. And a wild couple days for him. He got traded from the Texas Rangers to the Twins, from the Twins to the Yankees in all the matter of about 3 days. So, and then he had to shave his beard on top of all that due to the Yankees' beard policy that the Yankees have no facial. Oh, they got a mustache, but there's no other facial hair like a beard or goatee or anything like that. As we all know. So definitely was weird to see Kiner-Falefa without a beard, although he didn't look as abnormal as. That's always the one interesting thing. Like, I've always said this, like, Jason Worth came to the Yankees, he would need to completely, it would always be interesting. Like, James Harden was on the Yankees, that'd be a very weird situation. But anyway, yeah, so you obviously had, the trade deal, but this is a deal that I look in two parts. And when I talked about on Sunday about the Yankees roster situation and the Yankees not doing anything, I talked about them needing to step up and do something. And I said Isaiah Kiner-Falefa was one of those guys that could have been out there, could have been an option, and boom, just like that, he's gone. And I said the Yankees, I don't even think made an offer for him. And that was frustrating for me because a guy who's got a lot of young talent, a guy who's a really nice piece to have, a guy who really seems to, just, you could see the direction of where he's going with his career. Has had a really good couple seasons with the Rangers, and you just let him go. And it's like the Yankees didn't even make an offer for him. The Yankees didn't even make a push for him. And boom, just like that, he's gone. He's to the Twins. So the fact that we get Kiner-Falefa is great. Now, like I said, two parts of this deal. The first part, I'm going to start off with the positive. Gary Sanchez is gone. And I love that. And also following with that other part is getting Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. So I love that Gary Sanchez is gone. I've said it for the longest time now. He should have been gone 2 years ago. Glad Gary's gone. And I think Gary, too, based off of what he said in his press conference, too, seemed pretty glad that he's not a Yankee anymore. He just couldn't take New York. He couldn't take the pressure. He wasn't good enough. The reality was, no matter how much you liked him, no matter how much you thought it was cool that he's been in the Yankees organization since he was 16, he had to go. He had to go. I could not sit there again this season and watch Gary Sanchez for 130 games, if he even plays that, because he seems to get hurt a ton, and have all these pass balls, strike out, and all of us Yankee fans just trying to talk about if he's going to bat over 200. And when he starts to get a little bit of a roll, people are like, oh, Gary Sanchez is an all-star catcher. That is simply not true. Gary Sanchez isn't even close to an all-star catcher. Okay, what he's displayed the past 2 seasons has been just disgraceful. I mean, just terrible baseball, terrible catching. Defense his entire career has always been below average. And we thought that his defense was getting better, and it seems like he just regressed. It really seems like Gary the past 2 seasons has just overall regressed as a player. Like, he just has not, like, he was good, he was young, he was exciting, and then he turned to be lazy. He just didn't seem to care. It just really looked like that he was just. I mean, I that one game sticks in my mind against the Tampa Bay Rays where he wasn't running out that one infield, that ground ball in the infield. The Yankees ended up losing. He wasn't running it out, and he was jogging. And then towards the end of it, he started a sprint, and then he said, "Oh, a hamstring injury." Put him on the 10-day IL. Like, that moment stuck to me of like that. Right after that moment happened, he should have been shipped away 3 years ago. But look, he's gone. It's over with. As they always say, don't cry because it happened. Be happy it's over. It's been a long, rough year with Gary. A couple really bad years. Not hitting well, not blocking well. He's lazy too. He's so lazy. He shows no passion out there. Doesn't look like he wants to be out there. So glad Gary's gone. And I love the fact that we got Isaiah Kiner-Falefa in return, because it's a young player that's happy, excited, loves the game, always dreamed about being a Yankee. Good infielder, Gold Glover. Just is only getting better. And it's you replaced the guy that was kind of you replaced it's the dull light was shining on Gary Sanchez. The light bulb on Gary Sanchez was about to die with his time in New York Yankees. And it's a shining light bulb that just was placed in with Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. That's bright, full power, exciting. A lot of excitement that I love that we got Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. There's a lot of excitement there. A guy that's name was tossed around last season at the trade deadline, tossed around prior to the lockout, then tossed around again after the lockout, gets traded to the Twins, and now through all of this, he's on the Yankees. So, glad we got him. Like I said, there was a realistic chance we were going to get him last season at the deadline. That never happened. He never got traded at the deadline. But Isaiah Kiner-Falefa going to the New York Yankees, Gary Sanchez getting shipped. Love that part of the deal. Now, the second part of the deal is a little bit of the weird part, because it's getting rid of Gio Urshela and bringing in Josh Donaldson. And that, to me, is something that I know some Yankee fans are going with the statistics. And look, I looked at them. The statistics show, if you're going off of basic statistics, Josh Donaldson is better than Gio Urshela statistically. On both sides of the ball. And that might sound not real, but like I said, there's certain times where you have to put into a certain account of, there's certain times where you got to put into, account statistics and what you see on the field. This part of the deal, like I said, love the fact that we got rid of Gary, love that we got Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. This part of the deal, on the other hand, is the interesting part, because it's Gio Urshela I really liked, and he was a locker room guy. He was well respected around locker room, was happy, was energetic, was exciting, was just truly loved the game of baseball, loved playing for the Yankees. You could just see the joy that he had. And even from his plays on the field, his last play ever at Yankee Stadium as a Yankee was diving into the dugout when our playoff lives were on the line, going into the dugout and making that play. That play will always stick. That's just what Urshela did. A guy who put so much out there, worked very hard, was a guy that the Yankees never really thought was even going to do anything. Kind of just got him on a flyer, and then boom, he turned into our everyday third baseman. So it's definitely tough to see him go, especially the fact that I think to Yankee fans, he was also just a breath of fresh air. It was contact hitter, a guy that could drive in runs when the lineup would stink. Urshela was always there to save the day. So, and too, Urshela's young, he's still got a bright future. So to trade him away at this point to get a guy that's a veteran and kind of out of his prime is a little tough to comprehend and a little tough to swallow, just because you know what Urshela brings to the table and you know what he's going to continue to bring for the table. As for Josh Donaldson, he might have 2 solid years left, and that might be it for him. So this kind of part of the trade shows me that the Yankees focused more on a win-now approach, less than build and keep building. The first part of the trade to get rid of Gary, bring in Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Kiner-Falefa could be a staple on this team for a long time. Gary's gone. Who cares about that? And then, Gary's gone. We're all happy about that. Nobody's going to miss Gary Sanchez. It was terrible. Now you go to, Josh Donaldson. This part of the trade, it's you gave away a guy that's got, young, and, just young. He's a very good player. And you bring in a guy that's not what he once was, a little older, kind of maybe a little bit more dull than what Gio Urshela is. So this part of the trade I'm not in love with. Now, I get it. I get the reason behind it. When the trade first went down and I got up and I looked at it, I was very angry with this part of the trade. I hated it. I was like, what is this? But after kind of listening to people's approach, looking at the numbers, kind of seeing where the Yankees are coming from, it's not as bad, but I still don't love it. It's still a trade that if I was Brian Cashman, I would not have traded Gio Urshela for Josh Donaldson. I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have. Also, you go into contract situations. Josh Donaldson's contract's tough. A lot of money. It's just a very odd contract. It's a very odd type of deal to bring in a guy like, get rid of Gio Urshela, who's one of the best defenders in baseball, young, he's got so much talent, to bring in a guy that's, getting is out of his prime, not what he once was, worse contract. It's a little confusing. So, like I said, I hated it at first, but like always, it was kind of the heat of the moment type thing. After really looking at it and really taking a deep dive into it, it's not as bad as I thought. I still wouldn't have made the trade. I don't like it. And Donaldson, this is kind of one of these deals that Donaldson is going to have to earn his pinstripes. Like, he's going to have to earn my respect. I also find it interesting that Donaldson and Garrett Cole last season had that beef. And Cashman actually called Cole before he made the deal and said, "You sure you're okay with this?" And Cole said, "I'll be fine." And they talked yesterday to iron everything out. But that's what I find funny. It's like, Gio Urshela was so well respected around the locker room. Josh Donaldson and Garrett Cole hated each other last year. You bring in Josh Donaldson, it's like, oh, this is shocking. Like, this is weird. Now they're teammates. And that's how sports work sometimes. Work in general. You're going to have to work with people that you don't get along with, and it's just the reality of life. So, definitely funny. But, look, like I said, I love the first part of the deal. Second part of the deal is something I'm going to have to see how it plays out. Like, I'm pumped up to get Connor Fleff. I'm pumped that Gary's gone. Gary should have been out of here 3 years ago. We all know how, you guys know how I feel about Gary Sanchez. He's been gone. He should have been gone years ago. Don't even get me started on Gary Sanchez train. That's why I say I can't get frustrated because how long it took to get rid of him. I just got to be happy it's gone. He's done with, he's no longer a Yankee, and I'm happy about that. And Zay Connor Fleff, I'm pumped up about. Second part of the trade, Donaldson's going to have to earn my respect. Donaldson's going to have to play well. Going to have to be that guy in the lock. He's going to have to earn my respect a little bit. So, second part of the trade's kind of a wait and see for me. First part, I love. Second part, definitely a wait and see how it plays out. All right, so we're going to read this quick article here just about the deal and all the logistics. So, Josh Donaldson is on the move to the Bronx in a headliner deal. The New York Yankees acquired Donaldson, infielder Zay Connor Flefa, and Ben Roitvet from the Minnesota Twins in exchange for catcher Gary Sanchez and third baseman Gio Urshela. ESPN's Jeff Passan, MLB Network's John Heyman, and Ken Rosenthal at The Athletic were the first to report the details of the deal. Donaldson, 36 years old, is entering his 12th MLB season. He hit .247, .827 OPS with 26 homers and 72 RBIs in 135 games for the Twins last year. The three-time All-Star and two-time Silver Slugger had his best years with the Toronto Blue Jays. In 2015, Donaldson won AL MVP en route to leading the Jays to an AL East title and an AL Championship Series appearance. He finished fourth in the MVP voting in 2016 when the Jays made their return trip to the ALCS. From 2015 to 2017, Donaldson averaged 37 home runs and 100 RBIs while hitting .285. That's a .946 OPS. Injury plagued Donaldson in 2018, but he enjoyed a resurgent 2019 season, smacking 37 homers and driving in 94 runners for the National League East, winning Atlanta Braves. Donaldson signed a 4-year, $92 million contract with the Twins as a free agent before the 2020 campaign. The bottom fell out on the 2019 and 2020 AL Central champions, though, as the team they finished last at 73-89 at a 73-89 in 2021. Now he heads to the Yankees, team that is surely in a win-now mode and will benefit from his power as it looks towards the playoffs. Connor Flefa is a slick fielding infielder who can play multiple positions. He won a Gold Glove in 2020 and was a solid offensive contributor at times last year while slashing .271, .312, .357 with 20 stolen bases. The trade cost New York some notable pieces. Sanchez, a two-time All-Star, won a Silver Slugger in 2017. Yeah, that was 2017. He's talking about the last 3 years. Terrible. He has 4 seasons with 20 or more home runs. Urshela hit 21 home runs in 2019 and just slashed .267, .301, and .419 with 14 long balls and 49 RBIs last year. So, really, really going to be interesting to see how this trade plays out. Like I said, really pumped up to get Connor Flefa and get rid of Gary. Second part of the trade, wait and see. Donaldson definitely has the potential to be powerful and be a big bat, but definitely want to see how it all plays out. Alrighty, so that's what I got for the 2 main topics. Now let's get to the New York sports update today. We'll also get to some college basketball and the rest of the NBA. Tonight in the March Madness, we got Texas A&M. I'm gonna Google this. Texas A&M CC basketball. So Texas A&M Corpus Christi Islanders men's basketball. That's the school name. Versus Texas Southern. I'm going to take Texas Southern. And Indiana, Wyoming, I'll take Indiana. As for the NBA, got 4 games on tonight. One of those being the Nets. Grizzlies, Pacers, I'll take the Grizzlies. Heat, Pistons, I'll take the Heat. Suns, Pelicans, I'll take the Suns. Nets, Magic tonight. Nets come into this game 35-33, 35-33. Magic come into this game 18-51. The Nets are 9.5-point favorites. Over/under is set at 232. This game's on today, 7 p.m. Eastern. Find on yes. Percentages are not out yet of who's going to win. I'm going to take the Nets, though. I don't think you should have any issue with the 18-win Magic. Canadians, Coyotes, I'll take the Canadians. Capitals, Islanders, I'll take the Capitals. Maple Leafs, Stars, I'll take the Maple Leafs. Jets, Golden Knights, I'll take the Jets. Penguins, Predators, I'll take the Penguins. Bruins, Blackhawks, I'll take the Bruins. Oilers, Red Wings, I'll take the Oilers. Canucks, Devils, I'll take the Canucks. Kings, Avalanche, I'll take the Avalanche. And Panthers, Sharks, I'll take the Panthers. Rangers, Ducks tonight. Rangers come into this one 37-17-5. Ducks come into this one 27-25-10. The over-under is set at 6. This game's on tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern on MSG. 84% people think the Rangers will win this one. I'll take the Rangers. All right, as for fantasy basketball, I'm currently winning 204-143. Today I've got going John Morant, Buddy Hield, Brandon Ingram, and Desmond Bane. John Morant's day-to-day. Morant is doubtful for Tuesday's contest against the Pacers due to back soreness. And then John Morant, he's doubtful tonight. And Brandon Ingram's still out with the mild strain in his right hamstring. So, couple notable pieces that won't be there. By the way, I won last week 1,348 to 1,323. By the way, yesterday I fantasy basketball, it's tough to look at right now. It was bad. I had such a busy day yesterday, which is why I pre-recorded on pod on Sunday, because I knew I wasn't gonna be able to get a pod done yesterday. And in that busy day, I forgot to set my lineup, so I left John Morant and Miles Bridges on my bench, and they gave me like 80 points combined. And I'm winning right now, but I should be winning by like 100. I'm only winning by 60. And 60 in fantasy basketball is not much. And I can't get over it. Until I win this week, I'm not going to be able to get over it. It's playoffs, too. It's postseason. It's playoffs. So, really unfortunate. But first time ever, I think I forgot to set my lineup in any sport league. I'm usually always on top of it, but not yesterday. So, now we'll do it for today. Usually I always remember, too, because I'm doing these pods, so I have to set it anyway in order to talk to you guys about it. So, anyway, that'll do it for the podcast today. Another good one in the books. Kind of play it by ear to see how everything plays out. Tomorrow, if anything crazy happens in baseball, I might get to maybe some more NFL free agency stuff. I want to talk about the Matt Olson trade to the Braves, definitely, so maybe I'll get to that tomorrow. And if the Jets or Giants make any moves, or if there's any other crazy stuff that happens in sports. Right now, it's kind of a weird time because you have spring training stuff starting off in baseball with all that. I want to get to the Mets moves. And, Freddie Freeman still got to sign. If he signs anywhere, Jets still making moves, NFL free agency. It's kind of play it by ear time, and this is kind of the exciting time that we were all hoping for, and then it's happening. We're in the midst of it right now. You're getting all the free agency, you're getting all these trades in baseball, and trade deadline for NHL starts up next week, so it's kind of just a play it by ear and see all the news that, comes out. So that will do it. Another good podcast in the books, as always. I'll see you all back here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks